morning, everyone. Catherine Pfeiffer, Dream Living Properties, powered by Keller Williams Realty West. We are out of O'Fallon, Missouri, and service St. Charles County, Franklin, Warren, Lincoln County, Jefferson County, and St. Louis County for all your real estate needs. I am coming to you today to start a series of real estate terminology. All of our real estate contracts are drafted by attorneys, and I always tell my clients, not many people speak attorney. So I like to help people understand what it is that they're navigating through by explaining things in a little bit more of an everyday term. So I'm going to start in the beginning of the transaction, and this series will take you through different terminology that we utilize throughout the real estate transaction. The first term we're going to talk about is under contract and pending. So you're looking for a house online and you see it on one of the third-party websites, or maybe even a website your real estate agent has you on. If you're looking for a great one, www.dreamlivingproperties.net can help you out. Under contract and pending. Essentially, they mean the same thing. It means the house is no longer on the market. There is a buyer that is currently working to purchase it. They probably have financing or title work or maybe even inspections that they are contingent upon. Occasionally, you might see the term, and we haven't really been in the market for this in the recent years, but I think it's probably coming back, where there is a kick-out. So it might say under contract, no kick out, or under contract with kick out. With a kick out means buyer A wants to buy 123 Main Street, and but buyer A has a house of their own to sell before they can qualify to close on 123 Main Street. So the seller of 123 Main Street counters that buyer and says, hey, we're interested in your offer, but we want there to be a 72-hour clause in our contract that says, if we get another buyer that is interested and you can't remove your contingency yet, you'll have 72 hours to decide. Otherwise, we get to move on to buyer B, who doesn't usually have a contingency. Oftentimes, buyer A already has their house listed, and maybe they're negotiating contracts on it, and so they're confident they're going to put something together. So they go ahead and waive that contingency. Other times, they don't really have an opportunity to do so. So unfortunately, they have to let the contract go and give the seller the right to go ahead and sell that house to a buyer that is more prepared to close. We often see this in the upper price points, I would say above $350. There's just not a lot of people that can afford to pay for two houses if they're buying in that price point. So it's typically not something that we see in the below $350 price point. In terms of pending versus under contract, some agents will put the house under contract in the MLS, and that's the verbiage you'll see in regards to the status when the buyer is still doing inspections and they're not quite through that contingency. And then once they work through that contingency, they'll flip it to pending. But, every agent doesn't necessarily handle it that way. Personally, I put it straight to pending, and in the event that the house comes back on the market, it goes back to an active status. So under contract does not necessarily mean that you have the ability to go in and buy it out from underneath of that buyer just because they have an inspection contingency that they haven't worked through. They're working on it. That contingency is only 10 days long, and unless otherwise negotiated, of course. So, real estate terminology can get kind of confusing. So I am excited about bringing this series to you and my followers so that there is a more clear understanding. I think sometimes people are afraid to do something so big like buying a house simply because they don't know the ins and outs. So I am all about education and forward to continuing to do so.